Hi there. This is a video all about how to teach and reinforce sight words that your child is working on. Now, sight words are words that unfortunately we have to learn by sight or memorization, mostly because they don't follow the typical predictable patterns of English, otherwise known as rules. So, for example, in the word of, if you think about it, the O in the closed syllable should say aw, and the F, of course, should say f. So if your child has ever read this as off, they're not technically wrong. However, since sight words are unpredictable in nature, we often defer to rote memorization, which is not very fun. And that's why we try and make it as multisensory as we can to keep the diversity up and also help with memorization. So let me show you how we would do this with a word like of. First, you want to have the word written down or typed out on the computer. Ideally, there's no other words or terms or anything that they can see, so they can just focus on the letters of the word. Then what we do, and this is very important, we have them say each letter name, not the letter sound. So by that, I mean we are saying O, F says of. O, F says of. Okay, so they have to say that out loud, ideally while they are pointing to the letters. That can be really helpful, and it can help them to focus too. Now, after they have done this a few times, you can encourage them to trace the letter. So as in O, F says of. Have them do this a couple of times and ask them if they have burned it into their brain, into their mind's eye. And once your child has said yes, you flip over the card or put it out of sight and ask them, how do you spell of? They should say O, F says of. After that, you want to have a tactile surface in which they can write those letters down. And so there's a couple that I can use that you may have lying around. This one's a little bit more random, but if you have a rug sample or even just carpet or rugs at your home, you can have your child go down and trace the letters. O, F says of. Okay, so they're kind of painting a bit of a picture in their mind's eye and tracing it. We're getting closer and closer to eventually typing or writing it out. So they only have to do that once. If you feel that they need the practice, they can do it again. O, F says of. If you don't have something like this, you can also use cardboard in a pinch. You could even use bubble wrap. Goodness knows we have a lot of that from the pandemic. So any kind of surface that they can really feel on their fingertips. Okay, so ideally not something like a desk. It's a bit too smooth. And this will actually help them to really feel it out and memorize the word better. Okay, so once they have done this, you can then have them go and write or type the letters. Remember, they have to repeat the letter names every single time. So O, F says of. Okay, at this point, that is good. That is a good review. If you would like to drill it further, you can. You can ask them to go and trace the word of on the friendly family dog if they're patient, or on their jeans, or on their hand, really whatever you'd like. The idea is that we want to help them create a kinesthetic memory and an oral memory by using all of these different senses. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. And if you need a list of the different words we are working on, I'd be happy to send that to you.